Well, what a summer it is. Record heats, drought all over Wales. Most of the rivers are unfishable, and to be honest, you shouldn't be out on the rivers anyway. The temperature of the water, the level of the water, and a lot of our small still waters are shut as well. Large reservoirs, you're looking at buoy bashers, down deep. And at this time of the year, a lot of fly anglers turn to carp fishing on the fly. Brilliant fun. But to me, and it has been for the last 10 years now, I turned to the coast. I'm only 16 miles away from Aberystwyth, and I turned to bass fishing. And at the start of my journey, I started on the shore, walking the coast. It's great. Take the dog with you and do 4 or 5 hours just as the tide was going out, and sort of 2 hours out, 2 hours back in. And boy, was it a steep, steep learning curve. So if you want to start bass fishing, where do you start? Well, look, you don't have to go into massive, massive expense and all that. You can buy bass rods now, very, very reasonable, 60, 70, 80 pound. I started with a saltest bass from Daiwa, 10 to 35 grams. That did everything. It was 9 foot, and I could throw soft plastics, I could throw hard baits, I could throw poppers. It just did everything. Coupled with a 3,000 reel, 21 pound braid down to 16 pound fluorocarbon with a lure clip. So what did I clip on the end of it? Did a lot of research, watched a lot of videos, and the first thing I started with was soft plastics. And the ones I did was OSP dual live sticks, come in varying different colours. The white is absolutely brilliant. This one, I think they call it pumpkin. All different colours. Now, where can you find them? Well, I didn't find a shop on them. There might be shops that stock them now, but I used to get them in packs off eBay. And you can rig them weedless, and that's the beauty with it. Spring there, twist it on, hook is there, bass bites, hook comes out. The beauty with that is you can fish it through anything. Through snags, through rocky gullies, through the seaweed. It is brilliant. And they look like nothing, but they cast really, really well. The beauty of this as well is that you could fish it really, really slow. Let the current just fish it for you, and the takes were electrifying, honestly. If you wanted to go a little bit deeper, you could hook it on to, there's the weight on the hook, so that would bump along the bottom. Again, beautiful tail, loads of movement at really, really low pace. So the dual live sticks, absolutely superb. The other one, which is sort of forgotten about, is the Albi snacks. Cast brilliantly. Again, the less you do, the more movement you get in it. So those were my sort of original soft plastics. And then I came across Westin with their Sandy Andes, and they come in weedless, which is absolutely brilliant. Different colours. Again, can be fished through the rocks and through the weed and everything like that, and you don't get snagged up. And then the best thing was surface lures. And my go-to buy, I tried loads and loads and loads of the ones that I absolutely love was Head and Spook, Super Spook Junior. Nothing to it, rattle, brilliant. You got to learn how to walk the dog. That takes a few minutes. You just get it zigzagging across the top. But that was my favourite lure up until 6-8 weeks ago, and I'll show you my favourite lure a little bit later. So that was my go-to coastal fishing, rock hopping. Then after 4 years, saw an advert in Marketplace, 2 kayaks, so I went, bit the bullet, and for the last 4 years or so, I've been out kayak fishing, and opened up a lot of different opportunities. The problem with on the coast, you've got to look at the tide, keep an eye on it, and you don't want to get cut off. But the thing is, if you do get cut off, well, walk up the cliff, wait, the tide will go out pretty soon. So but with the kayak, it didn't really matter at what point of the tide was. I could fish wherever I wanted to, and it just opened up new opportunities. And then apart from the Westin Sandy Andes weedless, I started using these because I was in deeper water. As I go closer to the shore, I'll put the weedless on. Further out, Sandy Andes, no need to have sort of the weedless. Hooks out there, absolutely brilliant. And then last year, I was fortunate enough to get hold of a Carbon Pro 365 from Boat World, and that really, really opened up the possibilities. And with a kayak, you are limited. You know, yes, I do see people now putting engines on them and that, but you cannot go as far as you can with a SIB. And I had 3 days on the SIB last year, so this year bit the bullet, and we've got a SIB. It's actually just behind the sofa now. Great thing is I can chuck it in the boot of the car, can drive anywhere I want, blow it up, go out, and you can go out in rougher seas than you could with a kayak, and you can cover so much more water. So again, my go-to lures, well, obviously Sandy Andes, subsurface, and then this used to be my favorite. This is now my favorite. Just had them delivered from Japan this year. Walking the dog, same as the Head and Spook, but it's got a little lip just underneath there. It spits a little bit of water out, and instead of the ball bearings, there's a barrel weight, casts further, but then when it sits, when you pause, it just sits that little bit different to the Head and Spook. And my last trip out, this really proved to be an absolute killer. Was on the subsurface, we had a couple of bass, put this on, and it was like flicking a switch. Unbelievable. So those are my sort of go-to lures, but with my kit, obviously I've changed. With my kayak fishing, I still used a 9-foot rod, 10 to 35 gram. Why? Because when you're sat in a kayak, if the bass goes around the kayak, if you've got a shorter rod, you're going to be stretching around the bow. 9 foot, just take it around that way, take it around that way. So there was no problem whatsoever, and I've maintained that with my SIB fishing. So now I'm using a Labrax, which is top of the range from Daiwa. Absolutely stunning rod. I have the 9 foot for all my subsurface work, and I've got the 8'8" up to 19 gram for my surface lures. That's paired up with a Cetate, 3,000 for my surface, 4,000 for the other one on the 9 foot. And it's the high-speed one. And a lot of people say, well, why do you need the high-speed one? The one thing with bass, occasionally they smash on the surface when they're hunting their prey. If you've cast way over to your right and you get a shoal bass crashing on your left-hand side, you need to get that lure back as quickly as possible. With high speed, I can get it back quick. I can reposition my lure and get the best of that opportunity. So that's why I go high speed. Yes, when you're retrieving subsurface, you just slow yourself down, but you've got that added benefit with that high speed. You actually get it back and reposition it. On there is the J-Braid Expedition, £21, down to £16 fluorocarbon. It's simple, onto a lure clip. And that's my setup when I go out on the SIB. If you've got any questions, pop them down below. And if you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Bye for now.